Welcome back. My name is Chris, and I'm bringing you the January 2026 edition of NetSuite News. Now, before we get into the news itself, you've probably already noticed it, but there is a pretty major change in set. This is something that's I'm going to be using this set for the continuance of 2026, and then probably in 2027, I'll be going back to the old set. So don't worry, it's not a permanent change, but if you do like this set, let me know down in the comments below. And with that in mind, let's now go to the actual news portion, starting off with the NetSuite release. If you're not already familiar with it, NetSuite has two major releases every year. So there's one that happens earlier in the year, and then one that happens generally in the fall. So we're coming up on the first NetSuite release, which is 2026.1, and that's going to be rolling out in February. Now, in next month's NetSuite News video, I'll be going into much greater detail on that release, talking about some of the highlights and things you should be aware of. For now, I just wanted to make sure you're aware that it is coming and that they've officially released the release notes. So if you want to read through those, I will have a link for that down below. You can click on it. You will need to put in your NetSuite credentials, and you can read up on all the changes that are coming in February. The second news element I want to talk about is in relation to certifications. Now, you may already be aware of this, but NetSuite has been doing an entire revamp on their certifications for really the last 4 or 5 months now, and they're continuing to roll out changes. I already made a video on the new tier system and things like that 2 months ago. So if this is news to you in general in regards to certifications, you can definitely check out that video. But the one thing I didn't talk about in that video is the fact of recertifications or updating your certs. And I got a lot of emails for people asking me, well, great on getting new certifications, but what if we already have them and we want to keep them valid? That's something I didn't comment on in that video, and it was mainly because it has not been clarified yet. I have been in touch with a leading manager on the Oracle NetSuite certification team, and they've basically clarified that probably around April, they're going to be coming out with the recertification element of the program. So when that comes out, I'll definitely be doing a video on that, giving explicit details. But what I at least think is going to be happening is that instead of having recertification quizzes, is what they call them, for each of the different certs you may have, and you take those once a year to keep your certificates valid, now they're, again, I don't know this for sure, but it seems like they're going to be combining that into one exam. That's really just kind of like an update on NetSuite. You take that, and then any certificates you have, those will then be valid for the remaining year. So it looks like that's the direction they're going to be going in. As I get more information from the Oracle NetSuite team, and when they actually officially release it, I'll of course be making videos for you. So that really wraps up the official news portion of this video. However, there are a number of additional things I want to comment on specifically relevant to SuperTraining. So if that's not of interest to you, you can definitely skip it, but there are some free and beneficial things for my students. So if you want to stick around, let's get into it. Starting off with, I just want to say, I mentioned it in an earlier video, but a huge thank you to everyone who's been supporting this channel and the SuperTraining website. We've hit 20,000 subscribers on YouTube right at the end of 2025. And based on the ways things are going right now, it looks like we're going to be hitting 50,000 subscribers by the end of this year. So I really appreciate all the support from you guys, your comments, the emails you guys have sent me, subscribing, liking videos, passing it on to friends and colleagues. It really, really makes a difference, and I greatly appreciate it. Now, in terms of SuperTraining updates and things that I've been working on, first off, I just finished about 2 weeks ago a course specifically for NetClose. Now, if you're not familiar with NetClose, it's produced by a company called NetGain, and they're a company, I've actually done several videos on their products, but they basically make apps that work with NetSuite integrated into the system. And that particular element is one reason that I really, really like their products. They generally focus around things that support the CFO's office. So we're talking about fixed asset management, cash management, period closing, that kind of thing. And while there are a lot of other apps, for example, if you're dealing with month-end close procedure, you have something like Flowcast is very well known, but that is a separate website. It's an external integration that you then have to bolt onto to NetSuite to get it to work at all. And by being outside of the system, there's a lot of drawbacks and limitations for something like that. So when you're dealing with NetGain as a company and all their products, the fact that they're baked into NetSuite, you're in the system and it's utilizing all the information that already exists there, it is a major, major step up from some of the alternatives. So for that reason, I've always been a huge fan of the company and their products. I've done lots of review videos on their things, and I finally had some free time and I sat down and I did a full-length course on NetClose, which is specifically a solution for the month-end close procedure, which as an accountant, it's something that's been severely limited in NetSuite. Even though accounting is very strong for NetSuite in general, they have very, very limited capabilities and it's quite inflexible when it comes to period closing. So NetClose is a product I really, really enjoyed working with, and I made a free full-length course on NetClose. So if you're interested in that, I will have a link for that free course down below. And that really brings me to now what I'm working on. And as I just mentioned with certifications, they've rolled out this entire new certification program, including almost a dozen new specific certifications. So even though I previously had done prep courses on all the functional certs, I'm now going through the process of making new prep courses for the new certificates. I don't know that I'm necessarily going to do a course for every single cert, but I'm certainly going to be covering the major ones, starting with the one that was voted the most in demand, which is the accounting professional exam. So that's what I'm currently working on. I'll probably have that done in 1 month, 2 months at the absolute latest, and I'll be rolling that out. I'll make YouTube videos on it and the whole 9 yards. So if you're looking on getting that certification, definitely keep an eye out for that one. The next thing I want to comment on requires a little bit of a history lesson. The first course that I made with SuperTraining was called the NetSuite Basics course. That was a free course that I rolled out, and it had 50 lessons. It was actually quite robust. And as time went on, after about a year, I then took that course and changed it over to being a paid course and released a smaller, more entry level, like for brand new users, Basics course. So I renamed the shorter one Basics course and then took the first course I ever made and called that the NetSuite Fundamentals course, and it was, I think, charged for $99. So that happened in the first kind of year that I was starting. At this point, I now have almost 20 courses, and it's really a going concern. So looking back on it, I always intended for that first course to be a free course, even though it has so much information. It covers procure to pay process, order to cash, activities, various analytics tools. There's a lot in there, but it was always that intention to have it be a free resource. So we've gotten to the point where I want to revert that back to being free. So that now has been done. I will have a link for that course down below. If you're interested in taking it, by all means do so. It is still an entry-level course, so most people watching this video are not going to be interested in it. But if you have someone that you know wants to break into NetSuite, or clients that are maybe having a hard time just getting started with it, that is a really good resource to just get a general grounding on the system. It's absolutely free. And if you're interested in getting your Suite Foundation certificate, a lot of the information covered in that NetSuite Fundamentals course is the basis of the prep course that I made for Suite Foundation. So it really does set you up to be able to pass that exam. Not entirely, but it is a good stepping stone. So that course is now free. Another piece of good news in relation to SuperTraining is in relation to my individual complete package. If you're not already familiar with it, that's the one that includes all of the courses that I've created, and any new courses that I make, such as the accounting professional exam, those get included into that package automatically. Now, when I first came out with that package about a year ago, I made it as an annual subscription just because that's what I noticed all other training websites do. However, now that it's been going for a while and I've been able to interact with a lot of students, I realized that it just doesn't make a lot of sense to have it as an annual subscription. I much prefer to have it as just a one-time purchase and the students get access forever. Even though I'm still continuously, about every 1 to 2 months, adding new courses, you will still get access to all of those for time immemorial. So that change has already been rolled out on my website. Now, for anyone who has already signed up for the individual complete package and is on that annual subscription, don't worry, you are going to be kind of grandfathered into this, where I can't manually do it to just automatically change it for everyone. But if you reach out to me by email, you can go to my website and reach out to me on that contact form. I will work with you to basically turn off the subscription and give you access to the package, you could say, for free especially considering the fact that you've already paid for it. So that's something I've mentioned recently on my LinkedIn account, but for all of those that just follow me on YouTube, I wanted to make sure you got that information as well. And that wraps up not only the information and updates in relation to SuperTraining, but also for this NetSuite News video in general. So if you found this video helpful, please hit that like button. As I mentioned earlier, thank you to everyone who's already subscribed. And if you are not yet subscribed, I come out with new videos every single week. So please hit that subscribe button. And with all that in mind, I'll see you in the next video.